Hello and welcome to my What the F podcast. I'm Tina, your IVF mindset and fertility coach and mum of a miracle boy after 4 years of IVF treatment. If you're in the IVF trenches or going through the loneliness, soul-destroying and tears of infertility, then you're in the right place. You are not alone in this. I'm here to help you be kinder to yourself, even in the toughest moments when you feel so frustrated and overwhelmed and feel like giving up. Together, we will help you to find happiness and peace during one of the toughest chapters of your life. And if there is just one thing that you take away from this podcast and work on, then my heart is already full. Hi, beautiful souls, and welcome back to What the F, from Infertility Exhaustion to Peace. I'm Tina, and today's episode is really one that comes straight from the heart. And it's something that I have definitely felt deeply. And it's something that I hear from so many women that I work with. I don't even recognize myself anymore. Maybe you find yourself saying those words quietly to yourself as you sat in the doctor's clinic waiting for your appointment, or while you're going through your photo album on your phone, looking at all those photos and thinking, what happened to her? Where did she go? The woman who laughed, had energy and drive to do things, who was fun, who was spontaneous and always up for a laugh, who wasn't constantly on edge or angry, frustrated and bitter. Infertility has a way of taking over everything. Your mind, your body, your thoughts, your relationship, your sense of who you are and your worth. Honestly, you go from being you to being the woman trying to have a baby, the woman obsessed with trying to have a baby. And before you know it, that becomes your entire world. So in this episode, I want to talk about what happens when you stop recognizing yourself. And more importantly, how can you start finding your way back to her, the newer, stronger, and more resilient version of you. We'll also talk about the neuroscience behind identity and change. And if you've been listening to my episodes, you know that I'm a real geek and I love talking about science because I studied neuroscience at university. We'll also be talking about how NLP, which stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming, how that can help you reprogram your thoughts and your emotions. And I'll also be sharing some really incredible tools to help you reconnect with yourself, the real you beneath all that fear, fatigue, and fertility noise. So when I was in the middle of my own IVF journey, IVF treatment, I remember standing in front of the mirror in the bathroom, just like brushing my teeth as you do every morning. And I had bruises all over my stomach from the Claxine shots I was taking. My hair was up, I looked pretty rough. I was too tired to even give a shit. Zero makeup on, wearing gym clothes, and just thinking, who is this woman? My days, my life revolved around timings of injections, doctor's appointments, scans, supplements, acupuncture, Ayurveda, eating what I thought were the right things to eat, and tracking everything, like literally down to an hour. It was bloody exhausting. I was functioning, but I wasn't living. I was not really living. The hardest part was that no one around me really noticed, because to the outside world, I was still strong, brave, inspiring Tina. But inside, I was disconnected from everything that made me feel like me. The doctor had told me to cut down on wine and cocktails, which I naturally did. I'm not a huge drinker, but I do like the occasional glass of wine. and a good cocktail. But during treatment, I almost cut out all of those things. I had a few glasses of wine in between cycles or when I wasn't on treatment. But honestly, I didn't want to drink because I felt so nauseous from all the hormones. And my doctor was pretty hardcore. For him, it was an all in or nothing kind of guy. So he also asked me to not do any yoga, stop running, which I loved. I used to love running. I still do. I'm not so great at it anymore, but I do it. HIIT classes, anything sort of high intensity. I loved it. That's what I thrived on. And so for me, not doing any of those things felt like I was losing parts of me one by one. And I know so many of you feel like this too, that quiet grief for the person that you used to be before all of this stuff started. You probably used to laugh more. You used to feel spontaneous. You used to look forward to life instead of like counting days, cycles, blood test results, and going to sleep super anxious, knowing that you'll probably be up most of the night thinking about it all. That's not weakness. That is the sheer weight of long-term emotional stress and infertility trauma. Here's the truth. When you're stuck in that constant state of stress, your brain literally rewires itself. So I want to talk a bit about the neuroscience of losing yourself. So our brains are designed for survival. So when you're in the fight or flight or freeze mode for months, years at a time, as most women on the fertility journey are, your brain starts to prioritize protection over joy and over peace. It literally shuts down creativity, curiosity, that playfulness side of you, and all the parts of you that make you really feel alive. And instead, what it's doing is it's focusing on being vigilant, so vigilance, control, and safety. And so what happens is over time, this rewiring changes how you feel like yourself. You start identifying more with fear, with worry, with anxiety, with stress than you do with happiness, ease, or hope. But what I want to share with you today is that the beautiful thing about the brain is that it's neuroplastic, which means it's changeable. So you can build new neural pathways by being intentional around the thoughts that you choose, your emotions that you choose, and your actions. Now, I'm not saying you can choose your emotions because, when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling heartbroken, you can just switch it to another emotion. But it's about understanding what you feel, learning how to process it in a healthy way, and then understanding how you can regulate your emotions, so how you can complete that cycle and come back to yourself, come back to a calmer and more grounded version of you. And that's where NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming, comes in. Because NLP works with the subconscious mind. I'm sure you've heard a lot about it. And if you haven't, the subconscious mind is the part of your brain that controls 95% of what we do. And that's amazing, right? Because most of us don't even know how to tap into our subconscious mind to be able to make any changes in our life. And so it helps you recognize your patterns, reframes your thoughts, NLP that is, and create new emotional associations that bring you back to who you truly are. You might be someone who's calm, connected, in control, or someone that super organized and resilient. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share with you a simple but really powerful NLP tool, NLP technique called future pacing. And what it does is it helps you rewire your subconscious mind by visualizing and emotionally embodying and feeling, really feeling the version of you that feels like you again. So what I want you to do is find a quiet space and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths in, slow deep breaths in, and let your body to settle. Now imagine yourself 6 months or a year from now, a version of you who feels more peaceful, calmer, lighter, grounded, happy even. What is she doing differently? How does she talk to herself? What is she wearing? What is she doing or where is she going? What does her day look like when she's not obsessing about everything to do with her fertility journey? I want you to really feel her energy, her ease, her confidence, her calm presence. And then I want you to imagine stepping into her body. Feel that version of you merge with the one sitting here right now, or walking or driving as you're listening to this podcast. Then I'd like you to take a deep breath and anchor it by saying quietly to yourself, I am still me. I am becoming her again. And every time you do this, you are creating a new neural pathway, one that reconnects you to your authentic self rather than your identity as someone who's waiting, trying, unhappy, frustrated, or living in limbo. To help you understand some of the things that your brain is processing or going through, I'm a huge fan of journaling. So I want to share some journal prompts with you that you can try that will help. So the first one is, what parts of myself have I lost or hidden since starting my fertility journey? What activities, places, or people make me feel most like me? Who am I when I'm not thinking about fertility treatment or supplements, my journey? If I could give my future self one message right now, what would it be? So yeah, write around those in your own time. You can try it this week, over the next few days, and see what comes up for you. I also want to share 2 affirmations with you, which I feel are super supportive and helpful, especially when you feel so far away from the person they used to be. And the first one is, just put your hand on your heart as you say this out loud. I'm remembering who I am, one small step at a time. The real me is still here, strong, gentle, and whole. So if you've been feeling lost or disconnected lately, please know that it doesn't mean you're broken. It means that you're trying to survive, and you've been trying to survive all this time, something that is incredibly hard. You haven't lost yourself. She's still there. She's just underneath all the noise, the hormones, the exhaustion, the trauma, the heartache, and the constant need to be strong. Allow yourself to reconnect with her, to rest and to find happiness and joy in small moments again. And remember that your fertility journey is just one part of your story. You are still you. The things I'd love for you to take away in this podcast are these following things. I want you to remember that long-term fertility stress does rewire your brain, but you can rewire it back through NLP, mindfulness, and self-kindness. Losing yourself is a natural emotional response when you are under chronic stress, and it's not a sign of failure. You can consciously rebuild your sense of identity through the exercise I took you through, the future pacing, through journaling, and just being more emotionally aware around what comes up for you, what thoughts that you're having on a repeat loop, and essentially disrupting that thought and changing it. Healing is remembering who you are underneath all that pain. You are incredible. You are going through so much. So I want you to remember that and just be kinder to yourself and more gentle with yourself the next time you find yourself feeling lost and feeling so far away from the woman you used to be. If you found today's conversation helpful, I'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support helps others to find the safe space, and I'm so grateful for that. And if you're ready to take the next step in your fertility journey, get in touch with me. I'm here to help, guide, and support you through this process. So whether you need help shifting your mindset or just someone to listen, I'm with you every step of the way. I want you to remember that your fertility journey is uniquely yours, and that is enough. Take care of yourself, be kind to yourself, be gentle, and trust that you are incredible. You're stronger than you give yourself credit for, and every step you take is a step forward towards your healing and towards your growth. Sending you love, strength, and all the support you need. Until next time.